This week on PTL, we lock down the playoff positions, punch up your fantasy points, and say goodbye to some old friends. Prepare to get your bracket busted because PrimeTime League starts right now. Kill him! Kill him! Fire the glitter! Yes!
Unicorns have done it! Unicorns have beaten Fnatic!
Hello and welcome to PrimeTime League. I am Rivington Bisland III, along with my co-captain Joshua Jatt Leesman, and we are ready to chart a course through the crazy happenings around the world of competitive League of Legends esports.
Yeah, and we will have stops along the way to buff your knowledge in order to maintain some semblance of sanity. It's the last week for the LCS Spring Split, and with all the Premier regions closing in on their playoffs, it's time for some full speed ahead.
Let's head right into it. Aye, Captain. And I'm not sure if it's because the spring split is nearly over or if love is in the air or what, because completely crazy things have been happening everywhere. In fact, it feels just like March Mad. What's that word?
I don't really know what to call it. I mean, post-February foolishness, pre-April pandemonium.
It's close.
Yeah, definitely not March Madness, though.
No.
Definitely not March Madness.
Thought that was it.
Yeah.
Well, whatever we do decide to call it, something is definitely happening. That much is for certain. And for starters, we had a bunch of champions make their 2015 debut, both on the Rift and in new roles. And it's not just the LCS that's gone third month of the year madness.
Definitely not. Just to name a few, we saw Nautilus support on both sides of the LCS. My new favorite jungler, SKT Tom, played Udyr. Then there's Incredible Miracles Tucson, who busted out a support Aurelia and a support Maokai. That's not even talking about Garen top lane.
That stuff is so crazy. We'll get to see that later. The supports are really turning over a new leaf. Yeah. Besides a ton of unique champ selections, we also saw a bunch of upsets across the leagues as well.
Yes, besides Gravity taking out TSM thanks to a mid-lane Urgot in North America, the last place Meteor Makers beat Gambit in Europe, the Snipers no-scoped the Taipei Assassins in the LMS, and China's Invictus Gaming 2-0'd OMG. Mass hysteria, Riv.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Cats and dogs living together in unison. I don't know. Anyway, let's take a closer look at another one of those bracket-busting upsets over in the European LCS, where the best team in Europe right now, second place H2K, was riding an 8-game win streak as they took on the 7th place Elements.
Yeah, this was an interesting game because people weren't expecting much out of Elements H2K on that huge win streak, but early on in the game, Shook comes down bottom, gets a nice gank off as Nunu.
Start shaking things up, Froggen back on the Karthus, remembering to press R after death, and things are gravy.
Yeah, flash hook onto Reckless. You think that's the perfect way to start a fight, but they can't close him down immediately. And pay attention to the Karthus. He's in the middle of the team, zoning other people, and he can cast spells while dead.
There
Gets
it is.
2 more kills.
So much damage. There's a lot of plays where it looked like Kasing hit the perfect hook. You'll even see it again right here. Hey, I think we have the perfect hook.
I think someone's around that wall. Yeah, you're right. Everyone's around that wall. And once again, because they're fighting in these confined spaces, Froggen's Karthus gets out so much damage, and then it just allows the rest of Elements to clean up these fights quite well. Reckless this time.
Really wild. H2K with that streak. Really unfortunate that this was the game they had to lose it on.
Yeah, such a tight fight in here. Like, even with those catches, it was still a competitive game throughout. But because Elements won that fight so decisively, that was kind of the turning point. They win one later, and they push down this Nexus.
Definitely needing to find some consistency there at the end of the split for Elements. H2K's loss in that match put the brakes on their 8-game winning streak, as we were saying, and put them in the company of some other teams who have been lucky or unlucky enough to enter the Crazy 8 Club.
Yeah, why is it that this always happens? Gambit, Alliance, SK, and H2K have all had their win streaks stopped at 8 games. And 3 of those 4 were actually stopped by Fnatic, who is the team that holds the European record at only 9 wins in a row. Just one more game and a bunch of teams would share it.
Looks like a fantastic club to be a part of. Yeah. And speaking of Fnatic, one of the most incredibly insane games in the LCS history happened last week, thanks to the Unicorns of Love's immortal Nexus. That's not the first time we've said that word, and it always makes for an amazing game.
Yeah, the rest of this game doesn't matter. Let's start at the Nexus right here. 33 minutes in, Fnatic in their first attempt to close it out, but Power of Evil was doing so much damage on Cassio on that defense.
I love watching this replay. It's like entering a scenario mode. Go, defend Nexus. Do it again, defend Nexus.
Yeah, and this time, Cassio's not there. Easy, right? Fnatic can just go and hit this one.
Over. Second time's a charm.
The AD carry's there this time. Oh no, it happened again. They were not able to finish off the Nexus. 31 kills to 24. How many kills were there actually going to be in this game?
So many. Can't get out of the base. I love this. Clearing up the minions. Minion line. Let me step right in front of that super minion for you. Getting everything they needed.
Minion went to hit the Yorick Ghost at the end of that one. And then here, Fnatic thought they'd be able to kick them out of the base. Steelback, so many slight miscalculations. He thought the red buff would kill Vardegs, then Power Beetle lands all his skill shots and just blows him up. Devastation for Fnatic and elation for Unicorns of Love.
Absolutely ridiculous. You could see how happy they were. It kind of just comes through the screen and sends chills down your spine every time. And with just 2 days and 10 games remaining, here are the current standings in the European LCS. SK Gaming has locked up a top 2 finish, while Fnatic, H2K, Unicorns of Love, and Gambit are all guaranteed spots in the playoffs.
Meanwhile, the Wolves, Elements, and Roccat are fighting over that 6th place and final spot in the postseason, with Giants and Meteor Makers hoping to avoid that auto relegation.
Yeah.
And as a note, even though only 10 games remain in Europe, there are 1,024 possible outcomes, and every one of them involves at least one tie. Some of those ties will be decided by head-to-head records, but there is a very real chance that an extra game gets played in Europe this week, or several.
And now for a closer look at the European LCS, let's hear from the one and only Trevor Henry. How's it going, Quick Shot?
It's going fantastic, Riv. I'm super excited to be in the last week of games before playoffs, and I'm even more excited to give a shout out to the Super Dane himself, Martin Deficio Lunga. Thanks to all of that pulsar that we've been talking about, this dude has just gone from strength to strength, covered more games than anybody else, and you know that last ending to Friday was such a stand-up performance.
Really a standout guy indeed. That feature on him recently, there should just be more, right? Really, Quick Shot. As the playoff picture becomes more clear last week, who do you think the standout teams were?
Yeah, well, with the 5 teams already locked in, I feel like we've spoken a lot about H2K, Fnatic, and SK over the last few weeks. So I'd like to give some love to the Unicorns of Love and Gambit. Let's start with UOL. Their 2-0 performance during Week 8's games really helped solidify their spot in the playoffs. And this is a team that is the highest likelihood to surprise during a best-of series. Remember how they took down TSM last year to garner that herd of fans? It's really not unfeasible to think the same result could happen again to a Fnatic or an SK or anybody they face in the playoffs. The other team that I'm interested in keeping an eye on is Gambit. They're on my radar because this is a team that I feel is still struggling to find their team identity. But when they do figure out which page they're on, Gambit goes huge. They've really shown up in the middle of the split, and I think if they settle down and find a stable level of performance, they could be a dark horse in the playoffs. I'm also very excited to see them do battle with the Unicorns of Love on Thursday, as it very realistically could be one of our quarterfinal matchups.
Well, I can't wait to see that match as well. And with the top 5 places locked up now, that leaves 1 spot remaining. Do you have any predictions on who that will be?
Yes, I actually think quite simply who it will be, but the 3 teams in contention, Copenhagen Wolves, Roccat, and Elements, they're all battling for that 6th spot. And I think the Copenhagen Wolves have this one in the bag. They've got the best record with having a game up the other 2 contenders, and they've got an easier schedule. They play Roccat on the first day of Thursday. They play Giants on the next day. And in order for Roccat or Elements to stand a chance, they would need the Wolves to lose both of those games while both simultaneously going 2-0 on more difficult schedules. I think the bigger question here is whether or not Roccat or Elements will be going to the promotion tournament, because I think the Wolves have got 6th in the bag.
Well, we find out soon, don't we? Now let's shift from the final playoff spot to the final playoff bye, as Fnatic and H2K face off in our BF Game of the Week.
Yeah, that's right. Despite Fnatic dropping their game to the Unicorns last week, I actually expect this to be a hotly contested matchup. Both of these teams have got a 1-1 record against SK Gaming, and this is a must-win if either Fnatic or H2K hopes to catch SK Gaming and force that tiebreaker for the #1 seed. Looking at the statistics between these 2 teams over their last 10 games, which is when H2K added Kasing, Fnatic have got more kills and the most assists, but are actually next to last place for Dragons Taken. Across the entire Rift, H2K's got the highest KDA, the highest GPM. They lead the European LCS in Dragons Taken. So these 2 stylistic differences show in their statistics. Fnatic uses a kill-centric strategy to get objectives, controls, and wins. H2K is methodical, controlled, exercising caution across the map. And I'm very excited to see this clash of play styles and determining who's going to take second and who could challenge for first.
All right, Quick Shot, thank you as always for joining us, and good luck to you and the Super Dane this week.
Wow, thank you very much, Riv. Well, I go and help the Super Dane dry clean his cape. I think it's time for everybody to take one more look at that incredible match between Fnatic and the Unicorns of Love. This time, however, with 100% more team communication. It's time for mic check.
Okay, they can't finish.
Good, guys.
How about they will try to finish. They will try.
I'm alive in 4.
They can't.
You need to stall for 15 seconds.
Hit the tower! Okay, nice. Hit the tower. They are alive. Hit the tower. Hit the tower. Hit the tower. Hit the tower. Hit the tower.
Nexus.
No! Can we finish? They have the one Nexus. Lisandro maybe has TP. Can you one step?
They might have TP. What are we doing? That's it. We can't do anything.
Go.
We just need to hope they don't.
Look.
No. Go. Okay, I stunned him. Nice! End the game! Slowly.
I got him.
Okay, keep going. Get damage on whoever you can.
They want to end.
I'm up in 10
is going for
seconds.
game.
Can you run?
Just go mid. Just go mid. And just hit the Nexus.
What?
Let's go.
Play smart.
I placed it.
Please end the game. Please win it. Winnie.
Lissandra. I'm on try not to die. Okay, you need to go all in. You need to all in.
Holy shit. My life. Come on, what the fuck?
Oh my god, fuck.
No, like 20 seconds. It's like 20 seconds for Graves and LeBlanc. You can't end. But you got 5 minutes.
Minions! Kill this one!
Yeah, oh my god.
What is this game? Go to Shwani,
I ulted myself.
Game, go for the game,
I can set you on alone.
Go game. I can stand it back. Slowly. Can you have me?
You need to kill her. You can push, you can go. She's dead. I got her. Nexus. They will go for us. Guys.
Together.
Go.
They cannot hit the Nexus. Oh, no, yeah.
Should heal, no?
I have TP when I'm up.
Nice.
Get there.
I think I'll always remember where I was when that happened, on my feet with everybody else in the office.
Always Fnatic games and always that pesky Nexus having a little bit too much health.
Just a little bit too much health.
Those guys.
So Europe wasn't the only region with crazy games and upsets last week. Over in the LMS, the 8-13 Snipers became the second team to hand the Taipei Assassins a loss. And thanks to that huge upset, the Yowie Flash Wolves were in a position to lock down the #1 seed in the LMS tourney with just one more win. But they would have to beat third-place Hong Kong Esports to do so, and Hong Kong Esports came out firing, knowing they were against #1.
Yeah, some legendary names on this Hong Kong Esports team. Stanley trying to do this tower dive early on the Yowie Flash Wolves bottom lane. Sword Art trying to defend this one. It looked actually like the dive wasn't going to work. A teleport comes in, but somehow Hong Kong Esports, they get the kills.
Hey, they saved the turret, right? Yoey's doing all right. They saved the turret, but they wanted more, obviously. That play did not go well for them, and they just needed to get Maple going a little bit more.
Yeah, crazy here. Another fight that would look like it couldn't go in the way that it did. Yowie Flash would lose a few at the start of the fight, but honestly, Maple Zed was farmed before that fight and fed after.
Yeah, Yowie Flash Wolves was able to cool down Hong Kong Esports quite quick, keeping them and securing them nicely on their fountain. Not much you can do about that. Just a solid game
they had there. It looked like they were just the stronger team despite the dive not going their way early.
Absolutely. Trying to do as they may, Hong Kong Esports still looking to climb the ladder would have a chance now at Taipei Assassins. As we move on to the next game, Toys would face his former squad and the team currently in second place.
Yeah, this was a match where they could actually have got second place if they win this one. Stanley, he's a horse, getting dove early.
There he is. Let's go for the guy who knows what Type A Assassins is and how he play. He still can't stop it. Dinter here, nice little dodge. Beautiful there to get the hook out, and he goes back in.
Yeah, how did all that stuff miss Dinter? Anyway, the rest of Hong Kong Esports tries to collapse in. Stanley getting some revenge for that earlier gank, gets a kill back, makes it a 2-for-1, and this gives Hong Kong Esports a slight lead, but this was a long game.
Yeah, it seems like Hong Kong Esports had a completely go in and never back out composition, and it seemed to work for him pretty well.
Yeah, even though Chowie had a full 6 items, no boots instead of Zephyr on a blue Ezreal, it didn't matter because he couldn't put out enough damage for the rest of the team to completely crush him there. Long game, really crazy, but they end up taking it. Hong Kong Esports.
They end up taking it. Toys looking so cool there in the end of the game, just like, yep, I won. I'm going to head out now and party. And with those games, the LMS has now completed their spring split. Here's a look at the final standings. The Yowie Flash Wolves, the Type A Assassins, Hong Kong Esports, and AHQ Esports Club have all qualified for the playoffs. And on the flip side, the Snipers, Midnight Sun, and Never Give Up all failed to make the playoffs, along with Dream or Reality, who finished the season with kind of a perfect record that no one wants. 0 in that win column.
And now for more on the LMS, I'd like to welcome Garena caster Clement to Primetime League for the very first time. How is it going, Clement?
Fine. It's my first day on the job. So far, so good.
Wow, a couple firsts today for you. It's really exciting. First up, we do have to talk about the Yowie Flash Wolves, though, because there was a big rumor / somewhat verified that they may be pulling out of the LMS despite being the #1 team. Now they're back. Can you tell me the whole story on what happened there?
So first of all, their manager kind of got into this Facebook scuffle with a couple of fans, and then he announced that they were going to be forfeiting the entire LMS season. The players did eventually play, but on the players' behalf, the organization was not behind them during Week 8. But after talking with Garena, they have decided to continue the playoffs as usual, and they will be participating in the finals.
Yeah, that is a ridiculous story, to say the least. But yes, it's still the #1 team. In the LMS. Aside from that forfeit loss, they'd only lost 1 game the entire split, and that was to the Taipei Assassins. Why are they such a good team? What is the Yowie Flash Wolves playstyle?
Well, they played this kind of kiting team comps, and I do think they had some major advantages in the meta where they were allowed to pick up these peel champions at the support position. The second reason is overall their roster, they really have the most young, most talented players in Taiwan currently. And the third is you have to look at Maple's champion pool. He's been drawing so many bans and playing at such a high level.
Yeah, and a lot of that team has been playing at a very high level. You need to be the #1 team in a region. Is there an MVP on that team that you would like to point out?
I think you have to give this season's MVP to Maple. He's been absolutely extraordinary. Individually, he has one of the highest KDAs at 13.8, and the second most important thing is that he plays so many champions. He plays all of the assassins, he plays a lot of AP pokes, and another reason is that he fits really well with this team system. As I said before, they played this kite team comp. But Maple, what he can do is that he can do these deep penetrations into the enemy formations, make everyone collapse on him, create a lot of space for Never Loses to deal damage, and then he gets away scot-free in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Never Lose looked amazing at IM Katowice, but in time, that was because so much space was being created by the rest of the team. So, nice analysis there. But going into the playoffs, you guys are now done your regular season. With all the drama that the Yowie Flash Wolves have just undergone, how is that going to affect them? Are they a weaker team now going into the playoffs?
Well, in my opinion, this playoffs is still Flash Wolves to lose. Everyone here still sees them as the strongest team right now. And the other 3 teams have had a couple of hiccups now and then. Taipei Assassins really uncharacteristically dropped 2 games. AHQ got decimated in their friendly match against the Flash Wolves. And HKES just announced that they were going to release their coach. However, I will say that this patch is all about who can adapt, because this is going to be the first time that the players are going to play in the 5.5 patch. And Stake has said that they don't think they can continue playing their kite compositions. There's just so many good engage tools right now with the jungle buffs, with picks like Hecarim and Diana around.
Definitely going to be a super exciting playoffs there. New patch, new coaches, a lot of teams coming off some drama. Very interesting stuff. Thank you, Clement, for joining us. We will see you again next time. And make sure you guys check out those LMS playoffs. They kick off on April 10th. So definitely make sure to check those in. Clement will join us again afterwards. But now let's turn from the LMS to our Twitter question of the week as I reluctantly hand the reins over to Freak.
Reluctantly, nay, I say to you, nay. I accept control of PTL with great dignity. So I'll rein it in and get to your Twitter predictions. Last week, we asked you to predict the impact of the 5.5 patch and tell us which jungle champion will be played the most in the LCS, and for a spot in the Hall of Fame, what will their win-loss record be? A lot of you guessed Rek'Sai. Good job. She tunneled her way into an LCS high 9 games last week, and while 22 of you were able to correctly predict the pick, apparently most of you thought she would be OP. Turns out, wasn't the case. None of you got close to her actual win-loss record of 1-8. So I guess it's really no wonder you can hear her screams echoing across the rift. It's the global death scream, apparently. That brings us, though, to this week's Twitter question. And in the spirit of the March Mania we've been celebrating, we want you to tell us who will be the next unique champion picked in their region and in what role. This is not just the LCS, but worldwide in all the pro leagues. For example, top lane Garen in China, mid lane Cyan in Korea, or support Nautilus in North America would have been winners if we asked this question last week. But it's this week, so who knows? Could be anyone. Just take into account that Bard is now enabled in the LCS for the first time. So chime in and send us your responses to @LOL Esports with the hashtag PTL. If you manage to pick the correct champion and region and role, you win. But if you get all of those and guess which pro will play them, we'll put you directly ahead of the line and into the PrimeTime League Hall of Fame. Now, while I beat my feet to the sound of those incoming tweets, let's send it over to Riv and Jatt as they check out the action in China.
Thank you, Freak. That was surprisingly poetic.
Yeah, I liked it.
Sure. First up, we will take a look at Team WE, who looked to harness the synergy from their IEM victory over the GE Tigers as they took on second-place Team OMG. Coming into this match, WE really looking to climb the standings, especially after a pretty good performance in IEM.
If IEM Katowice would not have happened, this would have been a guaranteed 2-0 for OMG, but people were now a little bit curious coming in with WE's new roster. Uzi makes a big mistake throwing Cloud in under the turret when two people were waiting there.
Yuzi onto Uzi, and then Yuzi onto Cloud as well, almost getting out of this one. It looks like he was going to dodge it, but Dark Binding Arms.
I almost feel like Cloud could have kept running because the minion wave was going to block it there, but Mystic ends up getting the kill, and watch this Ahri charm. Unreal.
Boom! From downtown on that one. You can see how WE is getting these plays. Lack of vision coming in from OMG. Things just started to snowball for them.
Yeah, Yuzi support Morgana right there, landing a beautiful Soul Shackles. And this game got out of hand fast. 11 kills to 2, only 21 minutes in. And Spirit wanted the full ace. If he ends up getting this chase, you got to think the game is over because he goes all out.
It's a little cruel going even on the Meganar. Usually people back off when they see that bar coming up. Great save by Mystic on the heal to keep Spirit alive, but he just keeps going.
Yeah, I can't believe I got that kill. He's just all laughs after that game one. But you need to stay strong here. 3 points for a 2-0, only 1 point for a series split, and cool. He was angry.
Yeah, when things heat up, they get cooled off, and he is already 2-0. How about we make it 3-0 here on the kill as Xie cannot get out of this one alive. Seeing a little bit more Diana around the way.
Yeah, China's the one who started the trend. It's starting to go into other regions in the world as well. We saw Faker playing it in Korea.
Flash!
But that's not the story of this game. It was Cool's LeBlanc destroying. Watch this fight.
Everywhere. Cloud with the nice flash crescendo. Think there could be a double kill. Boom! Explosion coming up. Cool and going, getting work done as the team is handling everything they need to on the top side.
Good Lord, that was a big fight. Cool picks up all the kills. 19 kills to 4. A normal team would end the game with few kills left, but OMG, they like to style on people sometimes. 32 kills by the time that one was all said.
More kills than there were minutes in the game. And after splitting games with two of the teams near the top of the table, OMG and LGD, Team WE faced off against Starhorn Royal Club, with both squads needing to pull off some sweeps in hopes of making the playoffs.
Yeah, WE, they had such a terrible start to the year. They had a tremendous finish in order to make it here. And Korn had a lot to say about Royal Club's chances. Name, not so much.
Korn was going crazy this game. Pretty much the first few hits here are highlights of him kill after kill, and the team able to clean up with him on the backside.
Yeah, and here was just a big dragon fight. The problem sometimes with the Fed LeBlanc is unless you're getting good flanks on, you're not going to be able to win these team fights. The dragon is secured by WE, and they just pile over, staying together to avoid the assassinations of the 8-0 LeBlanc.
WE Mystic making a name for himself on 80 carries at IEM, coming up big for the team here. Looking to take down Insect as WE gets Baron. he also gets insect.
Yeah, and that was WE having a big goal lead. They had picked off Corn for the first time that game before that fight. The big reason they could force the Baron, and they forced Insect into a desperation steal.
Got to find that priority target. WE has had the right moves, the right decisions, and the right plays to be made here, working the 2v1 very nicely in the bot lane.
Speaking of decisions,
2v2.
I'm not sold on the support Aurelia from 0 and then to 2v2 the lane at that point in the game. You can see it got completely out of hand. Name had no chance. He's just running away. Full spark. 0-4 to start that game.
Not making it easy for him. Teams are already focusing on him. And then he puts himself out on the end. He's going to get taken down each time.
Yeah. And still dead. And another kill. Right there. Mystic insanely fed there. 10 kills already.
Don't do it.
Got his defensive item. And a face check. That's the worst.
Oh, you could have warded over the wall. They already had that position. But yeah, the face check is the worst, and it led straight into the base. Name could only find solace on the fountain.
An incredibly important 2-0 victory for WE. They had a fantastic week, splitting those 2 sets we mentioned, and then taking 3 points in that Royal Club match.
Looks like IEM and those changes really helped to bolster the roster, and at a good time. And with just 2 weeks remaining in the spring split for the LPL, here's a look at the current standings. Edward Gaming, OMG, and Snake Esports have not only been in the top 3 every week of the spring split so far, they've also locked in a trip to playoffs.
And while no one can catch EDG for first place, the race for second place is very close, with OMG, Snake, Vici, LGD, and Invictus Gaming still in the running.
And for more on the LPL with the postseason on the horizon, let's bring in Pastry time. How's it going, Pastry?
It's excellent, Riv and Jatt. How are you both?
Doing fantastic.
I'm doing well.
Awesome. Let's get right to it. Since making changes to their lineup, Team WE has placed second at IEM, split a series with OMG and LGD, and swept Starhorn Royal Club. Where do they stand in the LPL power rankings right now?
I mean, right now, they're honestly more of a middle-of-the-pack team than the 10th place that the current lineup looks like. They're obviously still gelling together as a team. They're very new, and they're sort of paying for the past results of having such a rough start to the season. But they're looking good, very strong. The new players are great. Spirit's playing like a god. If Woodley continue form, they're looking very strong for the end of the season.
Yeah, it's tricky, though, because they were the last-place team in the LPL at certain points. Now with only 4 matches left, how realistic is it that they could actually make it to the playoffs?
I mean, they can make it mathematically. There's enough points up for grabs in their last 4 matches that they could still get there, but they have a lot of tough opposition to play. They'll be fighting for every single point, basically, and any 1-1 almost spells death because of how the best-of-2 system works. It's possible, but it is a very slim chance for World Elite.
All right, and on the flip side, I want to touch on Starhorn Royal Club, who's now with Name, who has actually been struggling. Why is the All-Star having a tough time?
I mean, I think for me, Name's just out of practice, and it's something that hurts him so much as a successful player. He grinds games out. He's good in really long games and kind of needs to fine-tune himself as a player and get to know the other AD carries in other teams. Just being out of practice, I think he's broken a little bit by not being able to play, and he's just underperforming. A lot of the seasoned AD carries at this point are just dominating him in lane.
It definitely looks like that. Every time we do a highlight of their games here on PTL, it's just like a montage of Name dying, unfortunately. And even in the game today, he had to support Aurelia. How hard is it going to be for him to recover before the end of the season? And do you see a chance of him doing well this split?
I mean, I think for Name, maybe he should just think of the rest of his season as practice, because he's got some good games to play in. They're close to playoffs, but I don't think he should, set his sights on making another playoff final in China. If they make it, look for Name to really power up and go big, because he loves to show up during playoffs, but he needs to go super hard carry mode. He went Super Saiyan a couple years ago. He's going to have to do it again.
Definitely going to have to break into that mode. Another team that has been on an upswing lately is Vici Gaming. What do you kind of, make to their rise? What's been the success, the reason for it?
I mean, Vici are a scary-looking team at this point. They started the season, Dandy and Mata, these 2 pretty good players. They won something called the World Championships. Don't know if you've heard of them, but they looked great. And slowly but surely, everyone else has stepped up. Vasilis looked like a beast through the mid-season. When his team succeeds, he really goes off. And their solo laners are great as well, carrying Hetong. They play some interesting champions sometimes, but they always seem to get the job done. Yeah,
and a lot of people know Vasily from the North American LCS, where he's a very feast or famine player, oftentimes flashing in. Sometimes it's not a good idea. Has he mellowed at all with Mata as his support in China?
No, North American fans will be very happy to learn, but Vasily has not changed at all as far as playstyle goes. Still flashing aggressively, still playing best when he's running toward the enemy with his ranged AD carry. And Vasily, Mata just sort of gives him more opportunities to succeed and play the way he wants to play.
That's what I like to hear.
Good to hear, definitely. All right, Pastry Time, thanks for always joining us bright and early, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, Riv and Jatt. I'll see you then.
Yeah, and just as a heads up, the LPL will be dark this week, but will resume with the final weeks of their spring split starting April 3rd, including a showdown between those new and improved WE and the first place Edward Gaming.
That's right. Now let's bring things back to the North American LCS, where Team Solo Mid showed us that despite beating the world at IEM, they aren't quite beyond the pull of gravity or a mid lane Urgot.
And we talked about this, Keen, Urgot versus Zed. Urgot just needs to ult Zed when Zed ults, and everything's great. And he does it right here.
Bing, bang, boom.
Great. He won the trade. Bjergsen has to run away to his turret. He's probably even going to burn us. Keen, what?
Nope.
Keen!
Nope.
Come on, man. Definitely misplays that matchup a little bit. And Bjergsen took that lead to a 5-1 kill TSM advantage and a 5,000 gold lead until this fight.
Until this fight. Gravity was making a few mistakes. You can see more kills to Team Solo Mid and only 1 kill to Gravity at this point, but they clean up this jungle fight so well.
Such a messy, tanky fight. Bjergsen can't get into assassinate anyone, and after Gravity picked up all the kills in this fight, they could all itemize armor, meaning the 4 physical damage and Mundo team of TSM could not break through. All the fights just went Gravity's way after that.
The only thing that made me sad about that game is Bunny Fufu could not finish the 4th Frozen Heart.
I know, they had 3 of them so early on. The thing is, he was capped CDR, so he was just sitting on the Glacial Shroud.
It would have mattered anyways. And now, while a mid lane Urgot surprised just about everybody, we should have been expecting it. Keen told us himself back on January 4th that he was going to prove that Urgot is OP. It just took him 11 weeks to do it.
Yeah, I'm not giving him credit for that prediction. I do like the Urgot pick overall, though, because it is a really good pick against Zed. You saw Keen had an advantage on him early in lane because of the buffs he received in the last patch and because it was a very bruiser team they put together against Assassins. Everything worked out. Like, that was a very well-crafted team comp with Urgot, dare I say, as probably the best pick to fit in with it.
It was. Sometimes you just need to spice things up, and you can confuse teams even like Team Solo Mid.
Absolutely.
So, and with TSM's defeat under the pressure of Gravity, that set up a rematch between Team Solo Mid and CLG for first place and control of the North American LCS. This time around, it seemed like there was less hype, despite there being even more on the line, pink hair aside.
Yeah, no pink hair this time, but this match would decide who controls their own playoff destiny when it comes to locking in that #1 seed for the playoff bracket. And with that much at stake, the pressure does come along with it. And Locodoco was confident his team would win for one reason.
Well, CLG, they are big chokers. When it comes down to the breaking point, when it really matters, they tend to choke a lot. It's not just one person; it's all across the board. And our players are, in comparison, are really clutch when it matters. On the day of the game day, they come out really clutch. They don't give up. They don't tilt, and I think that's a really big difference.
This would be an interesting place to be in when
for a coach to call the other team
your coach is doing that, putting weight on the players. So after Loco's heartfelt and bold statement, it was time for his team to try and prove their coach right, as the top 2 teams in North America squared off for the last time in the Spring Split's regular season, TSM versus Counterlogic Gaming.
Yeah, we know the first game happened with CLG getting 4 dragons, controlling most of it, and then losing in the late game. Here, CLG was trying to get an early game lead. They shut Dyrus down so heavily in that early game, resulting in the Sexsmithy soloing behind his turret.
Keep going on to Dyrus is the name of the game to make sure he is down. And we jump to 33 minutes in this highlight, and Counterlogic Gaming looked to get a great fight here, but
yeah, you could really see Link just wasn't a part of this game. He was 90 CS down to Bjergsen. He took so much damage on the outside of that fight, did not contribute to that fight in the slightest, and allowed TSM and that AoE damage in the choke to just roll through CLG.
They had just previously done the same thing in a fight before, and it brings us to now the bottom inhibitor turret here. It looks like Doublelift can clean this one up.
Yeah, super close fight. Doublelift thought he had Wild Turtle with that Super Mega Death Rocket, couldn't quite finish it. He flashes one hook, kaboom! He can't flash a polymorph. Wild Turtle came back in, and that was TSM. Too much support for Wild Turtle, taking it home.
Definitely a much more clean game coming into #2 against Counterlogic Gaming for TSM.
It felt like they just kind of rolled over him. All that hype and build-up was just, oh yeah, TSM was the better team in that match.
Here they are. I guess IEM Katowice paid off a little bit. All right, so what a great rebound for Team Solo Mid right after dropping that game to Gravity, a trap game. needless to say. But not everyone sounded super excited about the victory.
So we touched a little bit on the early game, a little bit, and the top lane trade-off strategy, but what other factors did you guys consider in looking to come out with a stronger early game this time around?
Don't look at me. I didn't have a strong early game. I didn't play. Ask him.
You want the opportunity to do a little bit more damage?
I'd like the opportunity to play League of Legends.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not happy.
That's a
in the
stinger.
slightest. After just beating CLG, which is kind of strange, that's like Darius' favorite team in the world to beat.
Right.
I think a lot goes into his saltiness right there, honestly. He has the 7th KDA in the top lane, not anywhere near the top of that, but the 2nd most gold earned, 2nd highest average CS at 10, and the highest average CS at 20. So there's a pattern there where TSM leaves Darius on an island. He ends up dying a lot while getting CS. And no one goes up to help Darius. He has to fend for himself, and he kind of does. And it's a really hard thing to put your finger on because it must be very frustrating to be able to get those type of CS and gold numbers but not get the help of your team. But at the same time, the team's not going to help him because he's dying all the time.
That's true.
And the team's winning, so what's the need to change things? I really want to see that develop. Will they continue to kill Darius? Or if TSM continues to success, do they not worry about it? It's super interesting.
It seems like a ridiculously delicate balance, and things almost kind of like get more and more compounded with the top lane. Before it was teleports, now it comes to these little things. What's it going to be next?
I know, and Darius is left on more of an island than pretty much any other top laner in North America. But because TSM is continuing to win, I don't think help's coming anytime soon.
That's right. Well, we will see, and we'll have the chance to upcoming in this week. On the other side of the rift, should CLG fans be worried that they can't beat good teams, especially since they face 2 squads that are very hot right now in Team Impulse and Team 8.
The nice thing for CLG is they have locked in a playoff spot, so there is security in that. But they could drop as far back as 5th place if they lose both games, and that's a lot of pressure. I mean, how many times have we seen CLG have a late season collapse? If this is truly the golden age for CLG, they kind of have to start stepping up now, lock in a bye, and move into playoffs strong.
And one team that has thrived under pressure this split, at least lately, is Team 8, as we just mentioned. Coming into the game against Cloud9, they had won 5 out of their last 6. Who would have thought? But on the other side of the rift, a win against Team 8 for Cloud9 would give them a share of 2nd place heading in to the final week of the season.
Yeah, such a hot streak for Team 8 coming into this game.
Yeah.
But High was looking really good on Corki. Look at the farm, and look at how Cloud9 was getting extended team fights to allow their double 80 carries to deal sustained damage.
Really great use of this huge tanky line. Lemon Nation on the Nautilus was awesome to see that coming out in the North American LCS. And they were able and just kind of on par with Cloud9 fight control.
Yeah, chased them down as well, High at the end of the fight. Missiles, they only cost 20 mana,
Maybe
so
he's
able to finish off Slushie. Yeah, it is. But COD stayed too long at a post-fight inhibitor, making the game equal and setting up this climactic fight.
It got rough. Maple Street and Cali Trolls get initiated on. Almost dead, 200 HP. Wild Growth saves the fight.
These Lulus, man, keeping 80 carries alive at the end of fights. Wild Turtle, now Maple Street, but this time, because he's against so many health tanks and he built the Blade of the Ruin King, he just melts through the Maple Street, the end game carry, and teammate take that fight to push all the way to the Nexus.
The Vladimir, the everything, Cali Trolls, teammate, putting up some numbers, putting up some gains, and spicing things up.
Typical teammate Cali Troll style. It was interesting in the mid-game. Teammate had an early game lead, lost it, regained it, and won the game.
Impressive stuff from these teams coming in the late part of the season. As we head into the final week of the North American Spring Split, let's check out the current standings. They look like this. Team Solo Mid continues to reign supreme over North America, and along with CLG, have locked in their trip to the postseason.
Cloud9 and Team Impulse could still end up at the top of the standings when the dust settles, while Gravity, Team 8, and Team Liquid round out the playoff picture. And in a situation that nearly mirrors the European LCS, there is a chance of ties pretty heavily in the forecast. There's also a 20% chance of 5 extra games this weekend. So stock up on snacks and energy drinks now, just in case.
And now let's take a look at another race for first place, the race for the PTL FL4 trophy.
Yeah, well, Freak hopes he's in the race as well. We need to check in with him and PrimeTime League's Fantasy League of Legends Legendary League.
Thank you very much, guys. And now, just like the rest of the world, I have you guys all fooled. A normal person would look at these standings and say, oh, he's never going to finish in first place, but that's because they don't see in numbers like my beautiful mind. See, I earned the most fantasy points in the entire league, and I've positioned things perfectly for victory. I'm one game behind first. So much like how I crushed Shocks last week and proved that NA is greater than you for all time for this week, and even though 70% of you voted against me, it's all good. I forgive everyone. It's going to be great. Now, granted, in order for me to win PTL's FL4, I have to root for Shocks this week and hope that she beats Xpeke. Plus, the Imagine Dragons need to beat Freddie Wong. And then I need to topple Snoopy and win via overall points, and then I'll be taking home that wonderful trophy. But you guys heard it here first. It will happen, and I will be victorious. So, of course, you agree with me, right? Tweet hashtag FreakWin to agree. If you're losers, you can tweet hashtag SnoopyWin, hashtag XpectWin, or hashtag FreddieWin. But that's dumb. But show us who you fantasize about winning, and we'll watch it become a reality when I win. Now, for some non-freaky fantasy results, let's send it over to Jatt.
Yes, come on, Peke, Freddie, Wong, Snoopy, really anyone, put an end to this, because if he takes home another trophy, we will never hear the end of it. I don't know why I said another trophy. He doesn't win anything. He's actually 3-5 in our fantasy league. But on to bigger and better things. We got Fantasy LCS and some tips. We need to look at last week where, surprise, surprise, Fnatic and Unicorns of Love, thanks to that giant bloodbath, are at the top of the list. Actually, both teams dominated the top 8 spots in fantasy. Huni, higher than everyone else as a top laner. Really impressive. He could not kill the Nexus, but he could get the most points in fantasy. All these European teams seem to always score in fantasy. It sucks for us NA guys. Speaking of which, Aframu and Dyrus are 2 North American performers who were expecting big things last week, but fell pretty far down and landed themselves on our dud list. And then Diamond was upset in the first game coming back after Katowice, and that definitely negatively impacted his fantasy performance. But we actually have a week without lineup swaps for once, which is kind of a nice thing, but we still have an alert. And we have to put St. Vicious on alert here because he just does not care about your fantasy points at all.
Kill yourself, please. Please, you have Black Shield. No, I'm too tanky.
Why?
Why? Oh, why? For the fantasy point.
Why? Just why, man? You had a perfect game. You were 0-0-10. But, I mean, it's only half a fantasy point, so it's really not that big of a deal. We're just poking fun at good old St. Vicious, and we do need to talk about some fantasy sleepers. Team Liquid's mid laner is only being started by 24% of you, and they have, on paper, easy opposition next week. That goes for Phoenix and the entire Team Liquid team as sleepers that should be able to put up some big points. And then we have to mention Cali Trolls as well. We've talked a lot about Slushie and Porpoise for the reemergence of that team. But this dude, Cali Trolls, has 20 more kills on the year than the next closest top laner in the NALCS, which not many people knew. And that's why we threw him in as a sleeper here. So that should be a look at fantasy. Freak, I see you taking notes. Good job. While you tinker with your teams, let's send it over to Riv and the highlights from Week 9 of the LCK.
And our first highlight from Week 9 of the LCK features SKT and the newest member of the team, Tom, who made his debut with an unexpected Udyr jungle pick against Incredible Miracle. You know all about that, Jatt.
I'm pretty happy about this Udyr pick. Tom is now my favorite player in the world. But honestly, early on, he did do some nice objective control, soloing Dragon, and flashes for this kill.
Yeah, you might have to flash a few times when you're playing Udyr, but it usually pays off because you can stun people every second. No, I'm just kidding. But still, this game was fantastic. Back, forth, fights everywhere.
Yeah, the Dragon take there by Tom. He stays alive at the end of it. There's a lot of other craziness in this game as well. IM had to support Maokai.
Yeah.
There were a few things going on, but SKT was in pretty handily control by 29 minutes.
Yeah, after those fights, they made sure it was pretty much an SKT-style game. That means every fight, you're dying, they're catching up, and the ability to catch up was also there for them as you see them keep picking up these kills.
Frozen, he tries to escape, but there's just more people on the other side of the wall. The worst problem on Ezreal. 32-minute win here for SKT. Pretty dominant in Game 1.
Pretty dominant indeed. And they would kind of take that zaniness into Game 2. Unfortunately, no Udyr, because it got banned.
Yeah, well, we did get a support Aurelia, so we got that going for us. Faker, though, gets locked down pretty heavily on Victor, and it looked like SKT was behind in this game.
I think these regions are just faking everybody else out, so we bring this stuff to Worlds, and then they have it. SKT here down a bit, but really able to pull themselves back into the game.
Yeah, crazy, crazy fight. Marin is there. Faker's not there for pretty much the entire fight. Lissandra engages, but look at that Faker laser over the wall. pretty much killing everything as a 0-3 victor. Goes to show you the farm he had and the damage that champion can put out, really taking SKT back in the game with a few spells.
Kill it with fire, lasers, what have you. Faker was doing it that game. Here, once again, control around the map, stuff like the Speed Shrine, it'll help you pick up more kills.
Yeah, once Faker took that dragon fight for SKT, there was really no turning back.
Yep.
Here you can see they had a 13,000 gold lead and a free push onto the Nexus.
Smiles on all the players' faces, obviously, after those wins. And Week 9 wrapped up over in Korea with the GE Tigers looking to rebound after a disappointing IEM when they took on CJ Entis, who had picked up a win earlier in the week against SKT.
Yeah, both these teams really looking to rebound from a disappointing IEM. Neither Korean team made the finals there. Coco gets locked down by a whole bunch of GE Tigers in the mid lane.
Yep, they wanted to start things off early, and they put a few too many resources into this one. End up dying in the end.
Diana is deceptively hard to kill early on in this game, and the collapse down by CJ gives them a 2-for-1. Wait, a 3-for-1 because Mad Life was able to take out a Lee Sin on this side.
Oh, God, Life. Where have you been all these years? Playing over in Korea. Again, more over towards the Dragon. The fights were back and forth this game. That one taken over just by Sivir.
Yeah, once again, though, a deceptively tanky Diana comes in the backside, landed the Q to get the R reset, ends up finishing both of them.
No,
and then Lee, he gets to pick. Do I give the kill to Rumble or to Diana? Well, he gave it to one of them.
We'll give it to the gigantic Diana at this point. Here we see the fight looking all right. Smeb, the ultimate goes down.
Yeah, watch this play by Smeb. Absolutely insane.
Up for him.
Flashes in while his claw was there to get the early damage, and then Zhonya's there. Plus he picks up Kog'Maw on the backside. This game was absolutely crazy. You can't fit it all in the highlight. I recommend everyone go and watch this game in its entirety. Super back and forth. GE Tigers with their second Baron of the game, despite being down in gold, take the game.
Absolutely ridiculous for them coming out of that matchup. Game 2, it was kind of more about Smeb here, and he was making plays on the cannon.
Yeah, all the talk on social media was about the mid lane Scion and the banner of commands on the team. But honestly, it was Smeb's Kennen who ruled this game.
We see here the pressure that he was able to put on. There's that tanky Scion in the front. Kuro doing what he can. He had to back out, but Smeb says, I think we should
time to go.
Time to go in.
And he was killing people through an exhaust there. That's how farmed he was on Kennen. On the backside of this fight as well, a beautiful binding over the wall. Obviously, the Scion still does stuff.
A lot of great Morg bindings this week in the highlights. Love seeing that. Usually she's on the ban list, but when she's out, she's definitely making plays.
2 really close games there, even though GE Tigers is able to hold their undefeated streak in best-of-3s.
That's true. Pulling out of that kind of shaky IEM, so they're still getting the wins over in Korea. The Korean teams have just 3 weeks remaining before their playoffs, so let's check out the standings. The GE Tigers, SKT T1, and Jin Air Green Wings have locked up playoff appearances.
And while CJ Entis and Najin EM Fire fight over the final spot, KT and IM are out of contention, along with Samsung Galaxy, who finished at the bottom of the table. Worlds was such a long time ago.
Now let's check out the top 5 biggest plays from last week, or as the Unicorns of Love's Nexus laughingly calls it, the Penta. Coming in at number 5, Energy Pacemaker mixes things up with their Demacian blender.
Be careful, Beast comes around. Flandre trying to turn this one. The Ventral Maelstrom doing some work. Drizzle taking so much damage. Forced to get out of there. Beast picks up the kill. Flandre, though, he's going to go down. The double kill for the Garen. Best champion in the game. And who was trapped in there with who? Garen just going crazy in the Cataclysm.
Garen is the best. At number 4, though, it was Pawn with the 1v4 base defense.
5 seconds, 4 seconds until this Fizz is going to be available. Love City pops that Monsoon to try and keep Looper alive. Candy now tanking this one up as Playful Trickster gets popped. He got Candy! Oh my goodness, Candy just gets deleted. Dade takes down the Fizz, and M3, they can't finish.
And coming in at number 3, Shifter proves that taking him down is tricky business.
They go. Oh, they choose to go mid lane, jump on in. They catch Shifter, who he dashes over the second Q. But here comes Zion. Oh, the juke back. He's going to dive the Q. Shifter with the outplay. He's going to get away from Zion Spartan. Yes, he does. The minion throw, the flash Q. First blood, Zion Spartan.
Shifter was a god on LeBlanc there, dodging pretty much everything that he could. Nothing Shifter can do about the ult into Charm. But Enny's low, he still had his initial W up. And then Zion comes for him. He jukes in so many amazing ways.
At number 2, Bjergsen was a flippin' ninja as he dodged all the skill shots.
And that's what GSM's doing. They're in the trap.
There they go. Big lightning storm comes in, and now it's Xmithie off on the side. Gets the death mark on him, flashes the wall. Bjergsen chases. Looks like he might get the kill, and he will. Out he goes. 1-for-0 chase on Bjergsen, though. Link likely to get this kill. The rocket misses. The charm misses. Bjergsen gets out.
How does Bjergsen dodge so many skill shots? Bjergsen left, right, back. He dodges every single one.
And our number 1 play this week featured the Unicorns of Love, Fnatic, and an unkillable Nexus.
Fnatic look like they've done it at 33 minutes. Fnatic are taking down the Unicorns of Love.
No!
A few more hits.
What?
What? I cannot understand this game. Yellow stop,
the back
rain
door.
over. I've seen this before. It happened at Worlds, and it didn't go in Fnatic's favor. Will their fate be different? Nexus is going down. Hooney's TPD. Oh, it's what Fnatic are cheering. We see Rainover's down. Hooney is down. It's happened again. Deficio, it's happened again. Hooney on full HP. Deficio, will they go in? Glacial Path. We do see the shard connect, but look at the auto attacks. Power of Evil's got him. Can Power of Evil turn it around? Flash from Steelback. He can't find Fnatic. Steelback is looking for Power of Evil. Unicorns have done it. Unicorns have beaten Fnatic. I have nothing more to say.
That might hold one of the most extreme Penta plays we've had at number 1.
Just the craziest. That's what you want to do if you're a Fnatic player. You just cannot believe that happened to you.
So you saw Hootie, he did the same thing. Hands and face, he knew he should have been hitting the Nexus. But while you're watching the games from around the world this weekend, remember to send us the fantastic plays that you think should be on PTL.
Yes, just tweet them to us at LL Esports along with the hashtag #ThePenta, and your favorite play could make the cut.
That's right. Now, if you're looking to watch the North American LCS matches with other fans and maybe make some new friends, head to one of the viewing parties happening in DC, Chicago, Irvine, and Georgia.
Yes, and the Chicago party is at a place called the Geek Bar. I think we need one of those right here, Riv. Yeah. And of course, anyone can host a viewing party. To find out more and have yours promoted on PTL, head over to lolesports.com/VP and get all the information.
Sounds like a lot of fun. And with that, we put this featured party of PrimeTime League into the books.
Just about, Riv. But first, we do need to say goodbye to some pros we've grown to love over the spring split. Last weekend, Team Coast were officially locked into 10th place and, unfortunately, auto-relegation. That means this weekend will mark their final appearance in the North American LCS this year. And before they leave, we wanted to let them know that they'll be missed in our last hit.
We got hand warmers everywhere. You get a hand warmer, I get a hand warmer, everyone gets a hand warmer.
Just look at that picture of Reginald up there if you need inspiration.
Yeah. He's got pretty nice teeth, actually.
Nice job. Nice job, dude.
Nice.
Very nice.
My boy.
Nice. Oh, KDA boys.
Can we surrender?
I killed a world champion.
What a beast.
It's all right. We love you.
luxury items are like the Zonias, the Andries, fucking. It could be from the Kales, kind of. No, it's Twitch Idols is Codex.
Codex.
And it's not Idol. It's just Codex and Ether Wisp.
Is that right?
It's Moose Speed CD.
What's out of Chalice and?
Chalice
That's
makes
fucking
McHale's and
McHale's.
the
That's fucking McHale's.
Yeah, we're talking about McHale's.
I was like doing the.
I got on the jewels. Look at my shoes, man. I'm sharp. Man, I look good. I look
Oh yeah. Do I have a headset?
You just don't have a headset. This is great. This is going well.
Welcome to Challenger.
Oh boy. And like, here's the thing too: is I would want to pull up, like, the 5.4 patch notes at the same time, just because, or sorry, 5.5 patch notes and 5.6 at the same time, just because like Veigar got buffs in 5.5 that people didn't care about.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, it's meh, and then now it's like, oh, they increased his missile speed. They gave him all these different things, right? Like, what did Veigar get? Yeah, he got. Yeah, his missile speed is 2,000.
That's really fast.
His missile speed is 2,000, and the range of the spell is 950.
Yeah.
So it's out for less than half a second.
Yep.
Also, like, the event horizon delay is half a second, and it's on cast, not after the cast time.
Well, it's. I think you still have 0.7. Like, the total amount of warding I think is still 0.75. Like, here's the weird thing about how it's worded. I think the total warding is still 0.75, but it starts when you first press E.
Yes.
And so when you're done casting, it's 0.5. Because you have a quarter-second cast time.
Well, as you hit the key, even though you have the animation is not taking up the time for it to appear. How it was before was after the cast time.
Yeah.
And 0.75, so it'd be like, eh. Now it's on cast 0.75, so as soon as you...
I'm just not sure if that's...
It's actually fast.
Here's why I think... Well, here's why I think it's... Well, I know it's faster because it's 0.75 from pressing E instead of 0.75 from letting go. What I think that patch note says, and what I really think it is actually, is what I'm saying, is delay before walls appear is delay after casting the spell before walls appear. Like, I think that's the delay. Like, I don't think it's 0.5 from here. I think it's 0.5 from here.
Okay.
But the animation starts here, but from here it's 0.5.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure we didn't buff it in both ways.
In my opinion, though,
yeah,
it's faster and it's truer to the 0.75 value because the previous one was not true to 0.75.
Interesting.
I think the previous one was like after you cast, then the 0.75 starts.
Right.
Right. Now it's you cast and
no, you're exactly right. It was from the second I press E, it is like it comes up in a second. Because I finished the cast and then I have 0.75. Now it's I press E and it's 0.75. 0.5. I'm pretty sure.
Then they wouldn't make the difference between after cast time and on cast.
Because the particle does appear though. What's up? That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I saw that. Yeah, Zaz played him. Yep. I think it's just honestly confusing wording, and like you can interpret both ways.
I think this was actually a second, and this is now 0.75.
I think it was always 0.75 personally.
No, but I think this actually ended up being a second.
Ended up being, and it wasn't listed that.
I think it ends up being 7 because the cast animation.
I'm unsure.
So the 0.25, then it starts. The 0.75.
Unsure. Because I think you can interpret it both ways.
Yeah, it's true.
You could test it, right?
Yeah. E's delay before walls appearing has been reduced slightly. Q is faster.
The Aatrox buff is interesting just because when I used to play Aatrox, even though like you die and it takes all your blood well, you respawn and you're like,
yeah.
So now if you respawn and you can hit your R.
Yep. And you can do it either way. If you don't have blood well when you start, you can go for it. If you have none, yeah.
So that you come back
I
with more
see
HP,
what,
like,
what
wow.